Good evening, everyone. Continuing with 3 minutes of Tehillim, we're up to Perek, Psalm 80. In this Perek, we are continuing in the theme of talking about the prayers for a redemptive world, for Hashem, for God to redeem us. And in this Perek, we recall the previous glorious relationship we had with Hashem at different times in our history, asking Him, pleading with Him to restore our former glory. I want to focus on the second pasuk of this Perek. The pasuk says, Ro'e Yisrael Ha'azina, the shepherd of Israel, give ear, Noe Katzon Yosef, like the one who leads the flock of Joseph, Yoshev HaKeruvim Hofia, the one who is enthroned upon the cherubim appears. So the Keruvim, the image of Hashem, enthroned upon the Keruvim, is invoked in this second pasuk. What do we know about the Keruvim? So we know that in Parshas Naso, we're told, Mi bein shnei hakruvim v'yidaber elav, Hashem speaks to us from between the two Keruvim. The Keruvim, the Rabbeinu Bachya and Rabbeinu Bachaya says this based on the Gemara in Yuma, that the Keruvim were actually in the image of a woman and a man, one opinion is, and they faced each other. And the Gemara says in Bava Basra, Tzadi Tes, that Bizman Yisrael Osim Ritzon Shel Makom, when the Jewish people are following Hashem's will, then they face each other. However, Bizman Shein Yisrael Osim Ritzon Shel Makom, when they're not following Hashem's will, then they faced away from each other. So what's strange is that, back to the Gemara in Yuma that I mentioned before, in the course of discussing the Keruvim, the Gemara tells us that Amar Reish Lakish B'shah shenichritzu goyim lahichal, in the times of the second Beis Hamikdash, when the non-Jews broke through the Heichal, they sieged the second temple. They said, they mocked us, and they saw these two images that has a lot to do with our view of sexuality and how it's a kadosh thing. It's not something that is something that we don't do. It's part of our belief that we're mekadosh the chol. But that's a whole different shmooze. But it's in the middle of the kodesh hakadoshim, and the non-Jews, they mocked it. But it says clearly, Ra'u kruvim ha'ma'orim zebezed, that the kruvim were together. So the question that a lot of the Mefarshim ask is, one second, didn't we just say in the Gemara in Bava Basra that when the Jewish people are doing Ritzon Hashem, then they're facing towards each other, but when they're not, then they're facing away? So why at the moment, literally at the moment of the Churban, when the non-Jews are wreaking havoc upon the Beis Hamikdash, when ostensibly we, the Jewish people, sinned, why are they facing towards each other? It doesn't seem to make sense. So I heard from Rabbi Daniel Kalish a beautiful explanation. He said that when a couple parts from each other, there is a special kirva, there's a special love and a special feeling of closeness before a big trip, or before, right, let's say husband's going on a business trip or the wife is going out of town, and they're going to be distant from each other, going to be away from each other. During that moment in time, it's actually a very, very close and powerful moment. We know that we're parting, we know there's going to be distance, we know it's going to be difficult, and right now we feel really, really close, and you're sort of able to step back and reflect on the relationships. And that's sort of the irony and the duality of any time there's churban, anytime there's destruction. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to show us a little bit of hester panim. We have to feel a little bit of the distance. In a sense, the distance itself, in the moment that it's happening, there's actually a lot of closeness. There's a closeness that Hashem's saying, no matter what, even though we're going to be distant from each other, we love each other. I'm going to show you that the Keruvim are still facing each other, even though this has to happen, even though it's difficult, but we will come back together. And even in the moments of destruction, there is so much closeness, there's so much love, and that's unfortunately we've been experiencing this right now in the course of a lot of loss and a lot of difficulty. But there's this kirva, there's an underlying closeness that we have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu that Hashem is promising us is not going to be lost, and that we should recognize is underlying everything that happens. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always there for us.